Fuel your body with complete multivitamin, the perfect balance of essential nutrients for daily health and wellness. Carefully formulated from natural ingredients, our multivitamin packs vitamins A, C, D, E, plus key minerals like zinc and magnesium to support your immune system and boost energy. Just 1 tablet a day is all you need. Take it with water and feel the difference as prescribed by your healthcare provider. Stay active, stay strong, stay ready with Complete Multivitamin, your daily dose of vitality. Complete Multivitamin, simple, powerful nutrition. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition store.
A wise man once told me, you are who you are. So many things like you did, how you are.
And I'm reaching out to our brothers and sisters on the African continent. You're tuning into Black Hot Fire Radio. You're listening to the Pan African Bliss Show with your host, none other than Mr. Robinson. Feel the freshness all day, every day.
You got me, baby. Oh, baby, don't you want to? You know when it was started, you got me.
Good afternoon, family. Grand Rising. 2 minutes past 2 p.m. Hope you're having a beautiful Thursday. Hope your week so far is amazing. The last day of July. Hope it has been fantastic to you, literally.
You got me, baby.
My boy with Wannabe, featuring De La Cream, DJ Cream De La Cream.
You got me, baby. You got me,
Yes, good afternoon, Grand Rising. Hope you guys are doing amazing. My name is Joby to the first time, and of course, returning listeners on YouTube, on our network. I'm not on Rumble Beach today, but I hope for those who are on the radio station, on the network, you can hear me loud and clear. Karibuni sana. Hope your week has been fantastic. Hope July has been great to you. And of course, hope you're ready for the new month, that is August, and ready for the conversation of today. We shall be talking about what is happening in Angola. During the weekend, there was actually a demonstration that actually escalated, rather developed in Angola, and the youths went the Kenyan way, and they're demanding actually immediate change of corruption, youth employment, of course. Economy is worsening where people cannot afford even food. Most of the people cannot afford, of course, going to work due to transport, fuel, and all that. The main escalation of the actually demonstration is because of the fuel cost. But with that, we have, of course, so far 22 fatalities that have been actually reported. But we shall be getting deeper into that because Africa is on the rise, and I think the youth right now are just completely losing their fear. Because yesterday I was saying on our show, I'm not sure when actually we're gonna get to the point where we're sure that for real Africans are ready to, fight back and all that. But it is amazing to see that at least that attempt to go a different path than our parents have, and the different the previous generations. It's amazing to see that we have that attempt to dare to go and demand a difference in this particular system of corruption. But along that, we shall be talking about what is happening in the Central African Republic. Recently, I remember me reporting that actually in the Central African Republic, the current president, which is Faustin Achage Touadera, he has been in power for so long and still wants to be in power, which actually, of course, should be a no. And of course, I'm not sure if this is the Republican Africa. I think it was the Central Africa or the Republic of Congo. You can't even make a statement of this, but I'm going to check on that very quickly. Shall be talking about also the new deal signed between Kenya and Uganda, strengthening the bilateral ties. And of course, we shall be checking on the new terms or agreement. And of course, still in Uganda, where there's records of human trafficking on the rise. This is since 2024. And of course, this has been happening in East Africa. Remember, there's a time I talked about it that the kidney giving out and all that, it has been just happening, and people is because they want money. And last but not least, of course, we shall be focusing on what is happening in Burkina Faso, where Burkinabe people are demanding justice for the influencer, one of the influencers who has been killed or rather died under unknown circumstances in the Ivorian Coast. And of course, Ivory Coast, we've been seeing, is one of the countries that the Western powers have been trying to use to fund so that they can get to Burkina Faso. So we shall be getting into much of those details. But before we get started, a quick reminder as usual, ensure you go to the BHFN Sports page. Not BHFN Sports page, of course, get yourself those amazing supplements under there, but go to the Google and of course download Blackout Fan Network. That is the Google Play Store. If you are an Android device user, Blackout Fan Network is the name of our app. And through the app, you can listen to us through the radio station, so you can stay connected on all the amazing shows. And also through the app, you can stay connected on all our streaming platforms. I was checking Odyssey yesterday, and man, it's so amazing shows and so much growth. I was looking at myself, and it's super crazy. It's super crazy. It's super, super insane. But karibuni sana once again. Before we get started, I'd love to share some amazing brilliant focus as we focus on today's conversation. Ensure you get yourself some of these organic
Unlock your
supplements
full
as well.
potential with Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and Focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
Yes, and much more of those amazing organic supplements. But as we get started with today's conversation, I'm going to start with what is happening due to the recent information that has been happening, or rather what happened yesterday in Tanzania, where we're seeing Kenya and Uganda are strengthening their bilateral ties. And we'll be checking, of course, on what are the agreements. But if East Africa as a community was really working, what aspired yesterday is not something that actually should have happened. And I'm talking about Tanzania, where we saw them saying that they're going to ban foreigners from investing in the country. This is something alarming. It's going to devastate so many people's lives, so many people's businesses. And of course, especially if you move to Tanzania, especially like coming probably from America, or maybe also leaving your country, going to Tanzania because Magufuli welcomed everyone. And then allowed everyone to also invest, because this is something good for the economy. It's not something that is tarnishing the economy in any sort of way. And if you look at Tanzania, it has actually grown in terms of tourism. That is one of the ways that makes it attractive, because there's so many different cultures there that you get to learn from. There's so much growth, development. We're talking about that yesterday on the Tubonge show. So whatever took place yesterday, if East Africa was really a working organization, and if they're talking about having bilateral ties, this is some of the agreements that shouldn't be made by a single country. And this is why we go back to question the African Union. Shout out to Ibrahim Traore. I have a video of him talking about, I don't know if it's an AI video or it was him, but I'm going to share it despite it all, because he's talking about how the African Union does not go and investigate the people who are not practicing democracy, and including Ruto, because that is what the video is aimed on. But this is a big question on what Kenya, Uganda is doing, and of course, East Africa as a whole should be called out by the people, because East Africa consists of Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, DRC, if I'm not wrong. I think I remember Somali did join also the region just recently. Was it Somali or Ethiopia? I think it is Ethiopia, which recently joined the East African bloc. And if you look at these countries, there's no way they have helped East Africa develop in any sort of way. As a matter of fact, they do everything in their own single status or in their own different ways. But they're talking about how Uganda President Museveni, Yoweri Museveni, of course, and the Kenyan President William Ruto have signed 8 memorandum of understanding aimed at intensifying bilateral cooperation and accelerating regional integration. Museveni signed, hold on. Okay. Museveni signed the agreements during his official visit, reinforcing his commitment to economic development, infrastructure, and shared prosperity. This is the same BS they have been pushing for so long. But when people demand these promises you've been giving, you react on a different way. I'm going to actually immediately share this video coming from Ibrahim Traore. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's an AI video, but I still love the message behind it, because when people are demanding what you're promising them, it is a problem. And when I'm talking about the East Africa, if East Africa was working, it would be so easy for the rest of the countries to understand why Kenya is demonstrating, because we're facing the same political effects of, number one, majority of the youth are so unemployed. Majority of the youth are so unemployed. Majority of the people are living under poverty. There is no proper health care. We're talking about actually even having an organized system, which even if introduced, we don't know how to take care of it, because it's not been there. It's not been there. So I want to share this video of Ibrahim Traore talking and addressing Ruto, because what is happening between Kenya and Uganda, this is BS. This is bullshit of them always pocketing money. How many bilateral ties have we seen East African countries signing amongst each other, yet they can't even practice the simple economic development. They can't even, how do I even phrase? I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it. They can't practice the simple economical empowerment like trading, if I'm making sense. Excuse me. If I'm really making sense. Because what is happening in Tanzania right now, trying to look at this, because when you talk about foreigners, of course, and looking at these fake borders, so many African people are affected. We're not talking about just the diasporas. They're not talking about the Chinese. This is the crazy part, because who are the foreigners again? Let's address that. Who are the foreigners at this particular point? When African countries talk about the foreigners, who are the foreigners? Because according to me, I do believe the foreigners is a Chinese person, an Indian person, a white person, all these other races that are not nothing, anything, that don't have a melanin. And I'm not talking about a mulatto, but these other races that are not black are the foreigners. The rest of us, we're Africans. So we should be accepted in this continent. Anyone is welcomed because this is where you originated from. This debate goes back to what we've been talking about this week with the fight between the African Americans and the Africans in the continent, literally. So East Africa, if it was working as a community or as a bloc, this is not a discussion we should be having. If East Africa was working as a community or as a bloc, and if education was passed equally to these countries as a bloc, we'd see the same reaction that Kenya is having when they talk about or rise up demanding change when it comes to employment, corruption, and a whole bunch of police brutality, everything that we've been talking about, rise of taxes. This would be a common agenda, but it is so hard because that is not what they want to do. But let me share this video very quickly as we move on.
Fellow Africans, esteemed leaders, and citizens of our great continent, we gather today in a moment of profound reflection, bound by a shared vision for justice, accountability, and the advancement of our people. The events unfolding in Kenya, a nation long regarded as a beacon of stability and progress in East Africa, have stirred the conscience of many across our continent. They compel us to address a matter of grave concern, one that resonates beyond borders and speaks to the very heart of our collective
borders. He mentioned the borders. So if you're talking about the borders, that is exactly what you're talking about. Again, this is what I'm mentioning. If East Africa as a bloc was working, all these effects we're facing would be, how do I say it? All these effects we're facing should be faced and tackled by these countries that are on this particular block. Because like I'm saying, whatever happened yesterday in Tanzania, if East Africa was working as a block, this is not something that should have occurred. Because again, I go back and the question is, who are the foreigners? Because according to me, the Chinese are the foreigners, Indians are foreigners, white people are foreigners, but black people who are coming from America or wherever they're coming from, Brazil or wherever they're coming from, so long as you're black, you originate in the African continent. So this doesn't make you a foreigner, despite you not being born here. Exactly. It doesn't make you a foreigner. So if truly Africa was working as a bloc, because I'm talking about the bilateral ties that Uganda and Kenya did sign to strengthen their economical development, infrastructure, and prosperity. Now, if you look at Kenya and Uganda and Tanzania as a whole, Kenya and Uganda are part of East Africa community or the bloc. Tanzania, which is part of it, we have Rwanda, we have Burundi. Ethiopia just joined, that was I think last year, but one, I reported on that. We have DRC Congo, and maybe a few that I might not have mentioned that have been literally seeking to join the bloc. So if this bloc were really working for the community, let me say that, if they're really working for the community and if they really valued the community's interest, this is a discussion that should have been held by the East African community. I'm not talking even about the African Union. Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, DRC should have sat down, talk about what Tanzania wants to pass. Hey, don't you see this is going to be effective to our people? Because you have your people in our country. We have Tanzanians in Uganda. We have Tanzanians in DRC Congo. We are everywhere. Stop acting like Africans are not everywhere. Africans are everywhere. But because this is not a working bloc or community, that a bloc that doesn't serve the community, and of course it's just a set-up status that is there to steal money, set up this organization that work for the Western powers. That's why they won't. This is not a debate that was sat down to discuss. Who are the foreigners? This is something that we need to start addressing. Africans as well. You need to start questioning. How are you a foreigner in your own continent? Leave alone these fake borders we've been taught in school. You need to scrap that mentality because, I mean, we know so much right now. Come on. Right now, we know so much. It might not be everyone, but I believe we know so much. Scrap the mentality of these fake borders we have. And then look at who are really invading your continent. Who are the foreigners? You, the way you've been raised up as an African with that Jesus mentality, who is a foreigner? Because to me, an Indian, a Chinese, a white person, anyone who's not black is a foreigner.
Yeah, they are the foreigners of Africa. That's true.
So when Tanzania is addressing the issue of foreigners are not supposed to invest in the country, who are the foreigners? We need you to address the issue of foreigners. This is something that is becoming a problem in the African continent. African
So,
people have moved from their countries to come find lives in other countries. Magufuli ensured of that. That is
so
God
but
as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
because remember your countries. Joe be saying this correct. Remember, your countries were created by white people, so you didn't have any borders. So Africa was borderless. Africans could go anywhere they wanted to go. So yeah,
exactly.
your countries, the title countries come from your borders are made by white people, Africans. And that's what they're trying to make sure. Again, these policies are theirs, not yours.
Mhm.
But those I know these policies don't come from a thinking African. You like Africans trying to come together. Now you're trying to close the border and say somebody's been living in Tanzania for 30 years. Now I got to get out. That doesn't make any sense. That's what they're like. If, for all practical purposes, they become Tanzanian. That's like the United States. That's why you want a United States of Africa. I'm not from Florida. I'm from California, which is 3,000 miles away. So it's like me growing up in Nairobi, Kenya, and now living in Cape Town, South Africa.
Mm.
That's what it's equivalent to. That far. But I'm still, that's how Africa should be able to do because you are one people. Very
Exactly.
good.
Exactly, because we have, if you look at a country like Sudan, Congo, we have rich Congolese in Kenya, we have rich
Of
Sudanese
course.
got that in Kenya. It's just that they skipped their country because of the wars going on, then being invaded in peaceful lands, and of course, this is all about resources. We know. So I've been here in for the last 20 years, just like you said, for the last 20, 30, 40 years, gave birth, married,
Exactly.
have children. My children, this is all they have known as their
All they've
own.
known. It's all they've
Ex-
known, Joe. It's like
So
you got
my
the Zambian, like got the Zambians. Yeah, got a big Zambian community in Kenya. Been there for 30 years. 30. And the goofy Kenyan government still want to give them citizenship. But they've been there. They're not putting them out. But they've been there 30 years. Go ahead, Joe.
it is sad, and this is something that has to be addressed because this xenophobic behavior needs to stop. This is a xenophobic behavior of countries that are not even working, because what Samia Sulu is about to do is destabilize Tanzania. That is our job. Number one, you have to
Of
understand.
course. Of
And she
course.
seek mercy in you. Well, Tanzanians, you have you need to study hard, and you need to wake up. You need to wake up from the slumbers of I'm in love, all we just believe in love and all that type of crap you are telling us down there. You need to wake up.
What they tell you, Joey?
We believe in love, like peace, believe in love. We just make love.
Why don't you believe in love to your fellow African? Why is your fellow Africans not being able to
Exactly.
make a living then? Go ahead.
Exactly. So you need to actually wake up because the country is about to become a real third world. Because I'd say being in Tanzania, I've said personally, it's really a developed country. Trust me, I'd want to own a country where there's plenty of beaches. Like, please, who doesn't want to wake up to that? A country that is so warm. I love Kenya temperature, don't get me wrong, but I don't like the cold. Like, especially this month, the way it has been, especially right now, we're coming back to the sunny season. It's been sunny for the last 1 week, but I prefer Tanzania every single time. It's warm. I can dress up how I want, despite the people's been messed up. I can, I can dress up like any type of clothes, even at night, because it's a good type of weather and which I like. But it's crazy to see that people are willing to now give this all up for the white people, the Chinese, like we said last time, because this is what is going to happen. This is going to become Chinese.
That's
This is going
exactly
to
what's going
become
to happen.
Haiti. This is going to become Haiti, where we're going to be seeing now again invasion of Al Shabaab or the ISIS or whoever. They might get into the country because Tanzania is also rich in different ways. It is rich in food. That is one thing for sure. It is rich in soil. They're gonna start getting GMOs there because understand most of the Tanzanians are farming for themselves. For real, most of the Tanzanians
Uh-huh.
are farming for themselves. I remember for us, one of the most amazing things I love when we go there is when we get groceries for ourselves to cook. Wherever we're gonna be,
Yeah.
either in our
Uh,
house or the Airbnb we're gonna be. So it's
yeah.
nice to go to the market. Everything is fresh, you know, and very affordable. Actually, even more than Kenya. Being honest, food there is very affordable. Things like
Okay.
ugali flour. That is one of the things we know it's very cheap. Rice is known to be cheap in Tanzania because that there's plenty of rice farming in Tanzania and bunch of things. So this is going to be taken away completely. I was saying even what she's doing, I was
Of
saying
course.
this yesterday, maybe you can agree to disagree. What she's about to do, because this is where most of the companies, of course, are going to be forced to be shut down. What we witnessed in Kenya, immediately
And
Ruto
the
came into
exact
agency.
and the big
So many
and the big and the big white corporation is going to come in and take it over.
exactly, and privatization is gonna come in, and
Exactly, Joe.
they're gonna come and start. This is where again, like what I was sharing recently on some of the just few weeks past show, I was talking about Ruto defending himself why he needs to keep on selling more state-owned companies and companies which were actually thriving even when these foreigners were here. And foreigners are Africans who are actually African Americans, Africans, because we've seen from Lynn Gogi that Kenya economy is being driven. Most of the African countries' economy is being driven by the money coming.
Outside,
Exactly. So this
coming
is the
out from outside.
yeah, these are investors. These are people coming to, bringing their money here, and this will also sending money here to keep whatever which is going on right here, which is their investment. So Tanzania is headed the same way, and they're gonna use the excuse of, oh, we've been funding these companies. There's nothing they've been profiting the country in terms of taxes and all that. That is what Ruto said. We've been spending billions of funds, and follow up. There's not even a single penny that has gone in helping this business grow in any sort of way. These people have been independent entrepreneurs, independent business owners,
Oh,
literally independent cooperators or whatever, but not the government being involved. And now this is about to be completely
sure. It's
melted down.
called it's called state capture, Joe. So you're read the thing when they always want to come in and then destroy you, then take over all your business, privatize it. But there'll never be no Africans that own it. There always be other foreigners that own all your businesses. They want to own all your land. This is because they want to own all your land, own all your businesses, where you're now renting and be a squatter on your own home country, your own
Mm-hmm,
home continent.
mm-hmm.
That's the scam. And these puppets, since they're immoral, they're the ones helping do it.
Sure. It is super crazy, but that is what is happening, and that's what I'm saying. I was just trying to say these agreements between East African countries or two East African countries, and yet they can't sit down and have a discussion that is affecting majority of East Africans and even the wider broad of African
because
nations.
because
Uh,
because East Africa is like ECOWAS. It's controlled by white people. It's not meant to bring any Africans together. Because if you put an East African community and they all control it, what Tanzania did would would be strike down and say this is an act of war. You can't do this. You
yep.
can't now say other Africans are not allowed to own. If we're one community, we're saying we can freely travel and live into each one of our countries. What are you doing? You're breaking the agreement. So, this is
It,
causing division. What are you doing?
It's crazy, but yes, that is what is happening. So sorry, I'm saying sorry to the people who have been literally affected. I'd not advise you to come to Kenya either. Kenya is not like it's not like a business state, but with the current regime and how things are really, really going, I'd not advise anyone right now to
I
think
don't know
of.
where they go. I don't know where they gonna go because if you've been living past here so long, that became your life. Uh,
Mm.
you can't really go back to your home country because that's not your life and that's not you have the money. It just you've destroyed people's lives. I don't know what you do. This is really terrible.
Well,
I
I
don't know
believe
what you do.
that if these Tanzanians were actually, I do believe they should rise actually at protest in the country because with this business that are going to be affected, bet and of course there's Tanzanians employed there, so this bunch of
Of
Tanzanians
course.
who lose their job opportunities because don't get it twisted, we have Tanzanians who can talk good English that you can understand. Like,
Excuse me. Excuse
yeah,
me, Joby. Don't get it
yeah.
twisted.
We
Okay.
have, we also have actually not even some English that you can understand, but punctual English. Someone like William, his child came over the time we are having dinner and he spoke some English. I was really shocked. I don't know if I told you. I was like,
no, no, you didn't tell us. How old is this? How old is
I
this
was
kid?
shocked. I was really shocked on the dining table. Everyone was looking at me like, yeah, 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 Joby. They have good schools here that teach English. I was like, like you're talking like some little black American right here. What's going on? I even told him, I had to tell him like, yo, that's some good English. Then William was like, yeah, taking him to some good school, you know. Like, I was really shocked 'cause that's rare. You'll hear someone like Damon saying he's the age of 31st. What do you mean you're the age of
the diamond, the diamond platinum is a moron, Joby. Just because he can sing doesn't make him smart, Joby.
that is just me telling you guys. But for now, I don't know. Hold on into your maybe Burkina Faso, and of course understand they're going and
Yeah,
that
you go there. So
every
that's what the
yes,
show's gonna be on Friday. It's gonna be collective. Because Joby made me. I was dreaming something, thinking about something. Joby made me understand about collectivism and tribalism. That's gonna be Friday show with me and Joby. Collectivism versus tribalism. What even Touret's doing, what African Americans do, we practice collectivism. And so that's what even Toure, that's why they succeed. Tribalism is a failed culture, doesn't work. He's doing collectivism where everybody's coming together and helping the community build. That's it. Oh, I'm my tribe and you're not my tribe and I can't do nothing for you and hate. That doesn't work. It's a failed. Sorry, Camlish, it don't work. So we're going to talk about collectivism versus tribalism. Go ahead, Joe.
that's so sad. But I don't think Amish has mentioned about tribalism working anywhere.
Nah,
I
I'm joking. I'm only messing with him. I'm poking at him, Joe.
But yeah, we have this central man. I always say it's crazy when it comes to these three countries to always not making up the names. Of course, this is the DRC, Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, the Republic of Congo,
Congo.
and Central Africa Republic. This is crazy, man. Like, make that make sense, huh?
Joe, remember that when they Europeans came in, they broke up the Congo empire. So all those countries, Central African Republic, Republic of Congo, and Democratic, whatever you call it, Democratic Republic of the Democratic Congo, whatever that shit's called, right? They were all one empire. They were all the Congo. So when the Europeans put in their borders and gave it to each different European country, I think DRC was given to the Belgians. Republic of the Congo, I think, was given to the French, and and the Central African Republic was given to the French. So one was given to the Belgians, and the other two were given to the French. So that's why we got different names.
Okay. Now, of course, I do understand that. I understand the
Yeah,
division, which is, of course, to divide, rule, and conquer, and of course,
yeah,
cause and create all these tribal differences for them to keep on stealing resources and continue owning
of course.
control. They're saying that in the Central African Republic, the president wants a third term. This is, of course, a conversation we've been having
Always,
from the
always,
and
always.
like I'm saying, these are some of the issues if again we were given the same system of education as actually again East African bloc. I do believe the rest of the nations, including Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, Tanzanians, DRC, I believe this youth, this collective youth, like you said, collective youth, would understand what is happening and why Kenyans are reacting the way we are reacting. If
Of course
East
they would.
Africa was a working bloc, and if they introduced the same time when Kenya introduced the same system of education, if they would have done the same to these other
They not
countries,
getting that.
would
Joey,
have
why am I going? Joey, why am I going to do that?
of course I'm gonna do that.
I'll lose power, Joby, if I'm going to educate you. You
That's
crazy.
that's what I'm saying. If this is just so man, politics is fucked up for you guys. Like, this is crazy. How these people play with psychology and have understood it so well. It is. But the same president of course, the Central African Republic has confirmed that he will seek a third term despite a constitutional overhaul that has drawn sharp criticism. Traudare's promise to rebuild the country and his nomination for the presidency by his United Heart Movement, which is MCU, comes at a time of rising distrust in the government of the Central African Republic.
Rebuild the country, good Joby. Joby, the country's absolute impoverished.
Mhm.
He's been in 2 terms and built nothing.
Exactly.
I promised to build the country. You give me another term. He won't build anything. Just like for
Exactly.
70, it'd be impoverished.
Exactly. And also remember also that is in the Republic of Congo. The president who has been there for decades as well. For decades. And
Yeah, the
the
Republic of
country,
Congo. I think he's been there for like 35 years, Joby.
yes. I remember me reporting that just 2 weeks ago on the other
Yeah.
conversation. They're saying in 2023, a large majority of the voters approved constitutional changes in a controversial referendum, and now the opposition and civil society organization fear the 68-year-old Traudare could
Yeah, he's
stay.
another old man, another old. Jesus Christ! Can Africa get anybody under damn 60?
No,
Crazy.
why? And the commission said that 95% of those who took part in the referendum voted for the changes that enable the president to run for a third term, which we know, of course, is a lie because they never have any public participation in any African country,
Ever, ever, Joby.
let alone even Africa globally. There's never a public participation in any of these changes that are always done when it comes to this system. They're saying that the new law abolished the two-term limit and extended the presidential mandate from 5 to 7. God damn.
That what they always do. This is them always because remember they seize power, get power. They never want to leave because these morons. That's where all the money comes from. The stealing of the country's wealth. They don't build nothing. They don't do nothing. Everybody's impoverished. It's the same scam. But none of these African morons would say nothing about none of these Echo Wars and East Africa would never say nothing about this dude supposed to leave power. Because this is illegal what he's doing. They changed the laws to benefit them, but they can stay in power forever.
Of course. Of course, the since taking office in 2016, Traore has enlisted outside forces to keep him in power amid
Of
uh,
course.
civil conflict. This includes machineries from Russia Wagner Group.
Russia, the Wagner Group. Yep.
He won re-election in 2020 but faced strong opposition from rebel groups who sought to overturn his victory. So that is what is currently happening in the Central African Republic, where most of these presidents, because remember we have Museveni, we have Paul Biya from Cameroon, who cannot even see where he wants to sit, and so many of them. We have Equatorial Guinea, we have the
Hold on.
Republic of Congo, we have Somali, I think Eritrea, which has also been under the same type of dictatorship.
Leadership, wherever. Yeah, he's been there for like 40 years.
Mm-hmm. You have Museveni, of course, as well. It's so crazy, but again, this is lack of education, and this it's sad because
Exactly.
I want to share a video at the end of the show. Remind me of some old women who can barely even say their names. They can't even say. It's like some these games that always go on where you see some children are told spell some name, then you're given some chicken nuggets or you're given some
Yeah.
sweets. I don't know if you've seen it. So we have women who are saying, I'm not the bride. You've seen those trends, like I'm not the bride. So they couldn't even say I'm not the bride. They were saying some crazy stuff. And then I'm looking at now how they're scrapping away the system, the free education that we have in Kenya and most of the African countries, which also don't have it and doesn't work correctly. They want us to
Exactly.
go back to that era
Yes,
of
yes,
things.
you're becoming a threat, Joby. So it's time to make you more ignorant. Yes, you're
It's
becoming a threat of us controlling Africa. Becoming a threat to our wealth. You must go back into ignorance. Yes.
It is super crazy. But talking about Uganda, before we get to what is happening in Senegal, of course, our main conversation of the day is not Senegal, sorry, Angola. Our main conversation of the day is Angola, which the youth have gone the Kenyan way, demanding change because of
About
corruption.
time. Of
Most of
course.
the it's the most intense. They say it's the most intense demonstration that has ever happened in Angola. So this is amazing. Of
Of
course, I would
course.
say it's nice to see that the youths are completely losing their fear. It might take time for us to see the same reaction that we've had in Kenya,
It doesn't
but
make
it's
a difference. It's going to happen, Joe. It doesn't
yeah,
make a difference. All these African countries are puppetdoms. All of them are puppet countries. And it's like I said, Africans have become, like you said, becoming too smart. You can't live on the richest continent, Joby, and be impoverished all the time.
yeah,
These dumbass Europeans and Chinese should say we need to share some of it because eventually these people are going to uprise. We know African people are calm and loving, but and eventually they're going to say enough is enough.
hmm,
Because we're not going to live in this kind of orchestrated poverty.
exactly, yeah. Exactly. But they won't. They won't. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
They're poor.
Because
Is
they
it
have no humanity. Exactly.
they're ready for the war. They're ready and willing to do anything to ensure they achieve their agendas. You know, we've been
Yep.
discussing about this. If you tune in on our media shows, this is what we've been talking about. We've been on
Oh, I
political
missed.
agendas lately, and it's
What was that?
you
What show?
all
Which
about
one was it? What was when you guys the Rhythm Scoop show? The Bongi
all
show.
all of
Okay.
them, all of them. We've been on political conversations lately, and you
Oh,
look at the control is it's crazy, man. It's they have agendas we don't. The same conversations I've had. These people are way ahead of achieving everything which is already set up. So when it happens, we're like, oh. That's when we're learning about it. Like, come on. There's someone who said yesterday on the comment they have written it on the books. You've also said it's on the movies, it's on most of the things, but we've been blindly assuming everything. I don't know what we're waiting for to react because this is supposed to be a global reaction. I always try to wonder again. Let's just now. Let's be realistic. This is a realistic conversation. I always try to avoid. How is Israel
okay.
going to face all how are they going to face the consequences of everything they have done? All
They
the
won't
genocide.
because
What do
they
you mean
don't know why.
what
They
do you
won't
mean they
because they own. Because all countries need money. They're the ones print the money.
that's where we
All
go
countries.
back. We're
All
talking
countries.
about a fake system that is being really
I'm just telling. Okay, I get it, Joe, but I'm saying all countries have bought into this fake money system before we were even born. We didn't even know. So we didn't know. We didn't. When we're born into the system, we don't even know the money is fake, Joe. We don't know who's making it. We don't. A lot of people live their whole life not even know what's going on.
understand
We're
it. We
we're
go back
we're
now.
frustrated because we
Let's
know what's going on.
we go back now to science, right? What we're talking about, I think, on Monday or one of the days,
Okay.
to the 25 years of cycle, right? The 25
Okay.
years cycle, and we understand where we are right now, where we're supposed to go, and the awakening, and us completely taking control. So you can't
But
tell me the
what's
fact.
going to happen?
Hold on. You can't tell me these are conversations I've avoided and I need answers because you can't tell me these people have been ruling for over thousands, whatever, hundreds of years with this
Yes.
fake system of money scheme. All right. So
Yes, Joby. They
okay,
started.
if we're going
They
to
start.
wake up and take control and go back to us ruling with what Ibrahim Traore is doing, all right? Natural
That's why.
resources.
That's why he's dangerous. That's why they got to put a bullet in his head.
So if the whole collect again as a collective, this is now a continent. This is us. We're talking about puppets gotten rid of. Now there's
As when you start
nation.
exactly as a collective, that's why you're going to start taking back over because you're going to realize you're not a tribe, you are a collective African. You're not a tribe, you're
So
collective. So that's what they're trying to stop.
let's go back to my question. How is Israel going to
Okay,
face the consequences of everything they have done?
they're going to be destroyed.
How?
You mean how? When everybody, when the wake up starts happening, people gonna know who's behind it. It's gonna be war, Joby. It's gonna be. I'm trying to not be on YouTube. There's gonna be bubble gumming in the streets.
So this is where Africa would have advanced itself with the nuclear technology. This is what you're talking about.
Exactly. That's exactly because that's why Niger and Burkina Faso are now getting nuclear energy. They got scientists in Africa, Joby, right now who know how to make nuclear bombs. Don't believe that information not in Africa. It's there. But they're saying we're going to just make it for nuclear energy. Okay, but it only takes a few things to just switch it and make a nuclear bomb because all the material to make a nuclear bomb is in Africa. So don't believe they're not scientists in Africa that know how to make a nuclear bomb. I told you South Africa had a nuclear bomb 30 years ago, 40 years ago, but they gave it to what? To Israel. They packed it up and gave it to Israel. So don't think the knowledge is not in Africa to make a nuclear bomb. It's there. Just like you had the nuclear scientists, even in Nigeria, years ago, who knew how to make a nuclear bomb. But the Americans came in and bribed them, said that, had them practice tribalism instead of getting together. Because the main thing, make sure that black people get control of that bomb. But Burkina Faso and Niger are going to have nuclear power. So that means you'll have access. If you decide to make a nuclear bomb, you can do so.
Okay, okay, that's is understood. So eventually, we'll have to do what they're doing to Gaza,
Depends. Yeah.
if
You got to
possible.
do. You got to
We'll
do
have
what Iran. You got to do what Iran did.
if we'll need exactly if we'll need justice exactly, we'll have to retaliate the same way Iran did. We'll have
Yeah,
to.
because they gonna come see you. You're the wealth of the world, Joby. So I'm not gonna just give you Africa because you want it because it's yours. I've taken it over, and it's my wealth. I made you ignorant not to know it's yours. Like you said, you waiting for like you said that thing you had that video yesterday, the day before. Africans are waiting to go to heaven. No, airtime. Africans are waiting to go to heaven. Everybody's stealing shit from you now.
Mhm. It's crazy, but yes, I wanted to know that because it's always a question I want to ask, and then we say these people control everything. Till when? Until when? You've had your time of killing, doing everything you've done, stealing, owning.
They're not gonna stop until you take
They're
power.
not
You
gonna
got
stop. But there has to be someone who's gonna stop them. So if the awakening is really,
that's
really
right. That's what's happening.
if it's going to you,
You got Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, the first countries to take this shit back. Okay,
period,
so
period.
so now they're trying to contain them and stop what they call a domino effect. They're trying to stop other countries realize now that they're now moving in a collectivism, not tribalism, collectiveness. That's why they're trying to develop so fast because it's collective. It's not tribal. And so they got to stop that. So that's why they need to put tribalism back in there and make them over religious, but they got to get them out of there. Everybody got the AU coming at them, ECOWAS coming, everybody coming at them because they are a threat, Joby, to the system that the cats created. And so if they allow to continue to succeed and get nuclear power, that means when you get nuclear power, Joe, there are no more blackouts. And every other African country was like, hey, Niger and Burkina Faso might have blackouts? No. Why would they? It's the 21st century. That's why there's no damn blackouts nowhere. So that's gonna make the other Africans
started to be in the streets. Say we want what Molly has. We want what Jeannie Fossil has. We don't want to hear no about no fake democracy no more. If that's if that's dictatorship, we want that. Because they developing, they got jobs, and they got wealth. Nobody's starving. They got free housing, free health care, making good hospitals. You see them hospitals they just made? That thing is state of the art. They got real hospitals they making. So we want that. So Africa, you just say, because it's gonna be close to them. They gonna see it's in Africa, not in Europe. It's right there on the continent with them, and they gonna be like, no more. See, so they gotta contain it. That's why you heard Nigeria said, "Hey, you're not allowed to talk about Ibram Toure no more in Nigeria. We're gonna lock you up because he's a danger to the whole fake corrupt system." If Africans take back their resources, Joe, but you're rich again. You're not poor people
Yeah.
because you've been made you artificially been put in poverty. That's why they want to stop your education, stop you from knowing this, make you not understand how things work. So that's why they want to take away now your educational system. These Africans starting to know too much and put it into this shit because you're a threat to global power. So
Yes, of course, I do understand. I do understand all that, but my clarification is that is just that eventually there'll have to be justice. You know,
sure.
you won't escape all this you've done to millions of generations and people, and think that that's just the end of it. The fact
So
that
you
we've been
you got to bring
controlled,
justice to them.
if we've been in control from the beginning, we'll go back to being in control the way we are, and that's what it's going to be. And I do hope actually they all die out. I'm sorry to say, I'm really sorry to be, I'm sorry if you are on the chat, and but I do hope, you know, if there's not gonna be people who can live in harmony and peace, and Africans are will be going back to that, will be forced to get rid of all of you. That's what I believe. That is completely taking place now.
I hate to tell you what you just said is actually true because you're the only race of people that have ever been able to live in harmony and peace, Joe.
So yeah, we'll be forced to. But as we get into the main conversation of the day, but before that, we have Uganda, which has recorded high numbers of human trafficking. This is in since human trafficking cases since 2024. They're saying Uganda has witnessed a troubling increase in human trafficking cases in with 1,068 incidences recorded since 2024, and up from that is rising from 1,006 in 2023, according to the government report released by Anti-Human Trafficking Department under the Ministry of Internal Affairs, who don't do anything. Number one, this is just a name in the country, not doing anything. The findings were presented as at a stakeholders forum held at a missile hotel in Siamba, where officials and advocates urged coordinated efforts to combat this escalating crisis. Children remain the most vulnerable victims. Children remain the most, Keith, I think you there's something playing on your end, but the same children remain the most vulnerable victims, with 597 child trafficking cases reported in 2024, and a sharp rise. This is from 471 the previous year. Many children are exploited through forced labor, domestic servitude, and other abuses. Well, this is not about forced labor. We know what this is all about. They are using just simple terms to clarify where these kids are always taken, or of course the traces of the kids not being found, and of course they're not supposed to be found. Personally, I've said I've had a cousin who got lost. Till to date, her mother died, and she died without even ever knowing her daughter where she went. The siblings are there, but they lost hope of looking for my cousin or my other cousin. But as we get into the main conversation of the day, we have Angola. Angolians are tired of the current regime. They're tired of corruption. They're tired of
Tired of being in poverty.
exactly. They're tired of being in poverty, and they're demanding and calling out for change. Let me show what is happening in more of this.
Told you. This gonna be all of this gonna be all of Africa, Joe. All of Black Africa. This is gonna be it. They're not gonna put this genie back in the bottle. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse and worse because you've taken a continent, messed up people's minds with fake religions, and then put them in poverty, and them not even knowing that they come from abundance and wealth. African people never been poor, Joby. What you see now is artificial poverty inflicted on African people. Good. This is why they're trying to blot out the sun, Joby. This is why they're trying to blot out the sun, because they're trying to stop the 25,000 year cycle of time as it goes back up. You can't change the energy. As you go back up, the energy on the planet starts waking Black people back up. So they can't stop that. They already know that everybody's trying to give you GMO food and everything else. Not going to stop that.
He stands still as transport is halted and shops shuttered over unrest that originally began as a strike by taxi drivers aiming to decry fuel price hikes. At least 4 people have been killed and scores arrested since
just like Nigeria, this country, Angola, is a basket case. Don't even come in. Military part to a basket case. They're like the second biggest oil producer in Africa. Why you got fuel hikes? Because they don't control their own oil. Where you go to Saudi Arabia and Dubai, their oil country, their gases cost nothing. And you got more oil than them because you got puppets who are controlled by other people. We got you got fuel hikes in Angola. It's the second biggest oil producer in Africa. Supposed to be nearly free. Go ahead, Joe.
Violence erupted.
Everywhere in Africa, we are tired. Africans don't get anything good out of the resources that we have. The only thing we can get is tax increment of things here and there. Massive demonstration in Angola. The citizens, the Gen Zs, are saying they have had enough of the president. They have had enough of the president.
Welcome to AfriPlus News Channel, your platform for bold, independent, and passionate about real stories, untold truths, and perspectives beyond the mainstream. You're in the right place. Before we begin today's crucial report, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this analysis with others who care about justice, freedom, and the future of Africa. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our critical updates. Angola is rising. What exactly is unfolding in the country right now? Why are thousands of Angolans taking to the streets, demanding the resignation of President João Lourenço?
This is called a collective consciousness. African people, you're the same people. So now you start to have something called collective consciousness. All the tribal shit's going to go away. You're collective people. You're having something called collective consciousness coming from God itself, she, he, whatever it is, the energy. So there's going to be a collective all throughout Africa. It's not going to be able to be stopped. Go ahead.
This is no ordinary protest. This is a national awakening, and it signals a dramatic turning point in Angola's modern history, one where economic suffering has spilled into political revolt. Over the past several days, waves of demonstrators have filled the streets of Luanda and other cities. At first glance, the immediate cause appears to be a dramatic diesel price hike introduced in early July 2025. But beneath the surface, the discontent runs far deeper. Exactly. Angolans are not simply protesting against rising fuel costs.
That's just the spark.
They're calling out a system they believe has failed them. So the question is, what has pushed the Angolan people to the point of demanding their president?
It's the same systems that failed all Africans. It's the same. You go Angola, Kenya, it's the same shit. The same system of Europeans stealing the wealth and Africans living in poverty and ignorance. That's the system, continent-wide. That's the system. Go ahead, Joby.
Step down. At the heart of the unrest is a 30% increase in diesel prices, which took effect this month. The government, facing fiscal strain, removed subsidies in an effort to reduce public spending. Diesel prices shot up from around 300 to 400 kwanzas per liter. This decision had immediate consequences. Public transport costs surged, food prices rose overnight. The cost of living, already burdensome for most Angolans, became unbearable. Ask yourself, in a country blessed with vast oil reserves, how did fuel become a luxury for its own people?
A place where oil is the number is vast because they don't own shit. They don't control it. How can you be like a Nigeria? How can you have all this oil and you got oil in Angola should be damn near free. Should be like one shilling. That's it. That's it. Is it how does this happen? Because you got morons, puppets that they've installed to make sure the cats have stolen all the wealth out of the country. That's what's going on. Shell, Exxon, all controlled by the cats. Steal that money from the African people. And most of these people are ignorant, so they don't know how the shit works. They just know their lives are fucked up. That's what they do know. Go ahead, Joe.
For the second day in a row, the Angolan capital witnessed scenes of chaos. Burning barricades, flaming trash bins, and a heavy police presence on the streets. Security forces were struggling to regain control. But anger is brewing, sparked by the government's sudden decision to raise fuel prices. Angola may be Africa's second largest oil producer.
I knew it was second. I knew it was second behind Nigeria. So how was Libya, that wasn't even big as Nigeria or Angola, when Gaddafi was alive, where it was all wealthy, they had free schools, free homes, you were given free education, you were given a house, you were given money every month, and their oil wealth, it wasn't as big as Angola nor Nigeria. Make it make sense. Go ahead, Joe.
Hard, and with it, the livelihoods and daily costs for many Angolans.
I came to show solidarity with the Angolan people. People are suffering. We have to protest and show support. You see, the cost of living keeps rising, and we don't know what things will look like in the days to come.
This is where we say enough. We can't keep changing course every time. Whenever this happens, we won't stop. We'll keep going.
At least 4 people have been killed since the protests began. Shops have been looted and vandalized. Police say they've arrested hundreds of people. A major taxi drivers association has condemned the violence, but vowed to continue the 3-day strike.
You see they got the same outfits Kenyans have? You see they got the same fucking outfits with the helmets, the same shit? That's where you go, be the same outfits, because it's the same system. Go ahead.
The voice of the taxi drivers reflected the anger of the Angolan people.
See, aren't they losing? See, those are live bullets, which is illegal. Those are live bullets, which are illegal. But ain't it funny? None of the white people are saying, "Oh, what are you doing, Angola, shooting live people, bullets?" But they keep talking about Ibn Touray, where the people loving him and not doing nothing against him, and he's the bad guy because he's a threat to the system. See, but no one's saying nothing about Angola shooting live bullets at their own citizens. Not a damn thing. Nothing. Nothing.
How does it feel when your government tells you it can no longer afford to subsidize your survival? While the official narrative points to budgetary discipline, ordinary citizens see something else. a regime detached from their daily struggles.
Of course, the thief.
This is a government, they argue, that makes the poor pay for mistakes made by the elite. For many, this fuel price hike is just the latest chapter in a long story of inequality. Angola has endured decades of corruption, misuse of oil revenues, and a system that appears to protect the powerful while ignoring the poor. And so we must ask, when do economic decisions stop being technical and start becoming political betrayals? The demonstrations escalated quickly. Within days, the public discourse...
That's why you got to understand politics. That's why Africans, you've been told not to understand politics. That's why this affects your life. This is political betrayal. But what this AI is saying is correct. But you've been uneducated, not to understand how politics work. You just know your life is messed up. But you understand the political decisions that were made while your life is effed up.
Just demanding a fuel price reversal. They began calling for President João Lourenço to resign. Why? Because for many, this was no longer about diesel. It was about dignity. It was about leadership. It was about years of silence, suffering, and systemic failure.
And see, you're not going to have a success story like a Burkina Faso up the road where you can see why the hell are they working and I'm all impoverished. Burkina Faso is supposed to be poor in Angola and Kenya. How the hell do they got free apartments, building real lives, real cars and real trains and buses are free? What the hell is going on? See, they can't allow that to exist, Joe.
True, but the youths are believing that can exist, so that's why they are on the streets demanding for that particular change, because it's the lies, like you said, we've been lied to. Right now it's not even about the education. Again, we're living in a digital system. This is something these people fail to understand. We're not our parents. Again, we've grown up. The generation, personally, at class 8, I had a phone. My boyfriend sneaked a phone for me. Dad could take away my phone. I have a new phone. Like, and you're gonna get cheap phones on the streets, especially on the streets. Cheap phones are cheap. You're gonna get, of course, someone's maybe, but you need a phone. You don't care if someone was killed at that time. You want a phone. You're gonna get a phone. What else is available? And the youth. Funny thing, most of the youths would rather starve themselves, rather than be online. So you have a phone now, but I'd rather starve the whole day, but I'm online. I'm watching TikTok. That's what most of the youth.
That's why they want to ban. That's why they want to ban TikTok. Joe, before you wrap up, I sent you a 30 video. I think it's like 40 seconds. Play that one before you leave.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a different generation, and it's
True.
Something they're not understanding, because with a different generation that has grown up with a lot of, I'd say, information. We've been on the internet.
Exactly. A lot of information. That's what they're trying to. You're right, Joe. That's why they want to clamp down on information. They want to stop. They want to bring back school fees. They want to stop you from knowing. The only way you can control Africa is to keep them still ignorant, keep them still over religious, and that's coming to an end. They're losing their grip, so that's what's going to happen. So the spark was started by Kenya, but it's going to keep on going. They ain't saying nothing about Angola, nothing. But everybody, even Teray must step down. All these morons, he must step down. Why? People love him when he's doing work. Because he must be corrupt like us and keep him impoverished because the white man said so. What is he doing? Everybody keep talking about even Teray.
But I see in Caribou Sana, he says today a lot of pretenders and FBS on TikTok are gaslighting me, telling me that Africans are not the same, especially between Black Americans and continental Africans. We don't really care. Okay, what information you yourself? That is what really matters, I believe. Like kids say, when you watch most of these videos, I was listening to that on the show yesterday. When watching most of these psyops, okay, these narratives they're trying to push, don't get emotional. It's all here again. They're trying to get to you here, So what do you know? What do you understand about that? Do you believe in that, whatever people are telling you, or do you have a different story? Can you go do research on that. Like I sometimes I like literally being very straightforward. Like I keep telling you guys, like hit the legacy on that particular, fire of we're all grown ups. Like you're informed. You can't keep on telling me you don't understand the difference between this and this. So are you gonna listen to that, or do you have a different information that you can rely on yourself? That is what really matters according to me. And also see it says how is it cold in Kenya? Kenya is in the tropics. Well, it's July. July is a cold. It's a cold
Yep.
season, so it's a little cold.
Kenya has cold weather, email. Not like Tanzania or Ghana. Tanz, um, Kenya sits right on the equator, so a little bit lower. You got closer to Tanzania's border. Kenya's weather is more tropical, but the majority of the country is not in the tropical region. Emil, it actually gets cold. I've been in Kenya, but it gets cold in fucking Kenya, Jack.
Yep. Yeah, but it's been a cold month. July is always a cold month, but right now
So
it's been
that's the winter.
yeah.
Remember, their winter, Jovian and winter is our summer. Our winter is their summer.
Yep, exactly. Tanzania also has a lot of extremely beautiful antiques, artwork, jewelry, and souvenirs. That's how I almost got broke buying all this stuff. Wow, that's nice. We almost get broke too there, trust me, especially the jewelries. Oh my god, those things get quite insane. Like last time when we went there, I saw some jewelries, then I had some shit to do. Like when I coming back to Kenya, so I'm like, man, I'm not gonna buy this jewelry. It was so cute. It's way better than what we left
But
last
you,
time.
but you,
Yeah, I was
but
like,
you,
wow.
but Jovi can buy it in Christmas time. But you can take your hands back down there.
Yeah, plus I have a bunch of jewelries right now. Plus I came back and someone surprised me with jewelry. So I was like, that's worth it of not buying there because
Uh
they were this customly made for me and they're very unique jewelry. So I loved it. And I also see Emmy says I was in Mombasa, Kenya last September. We weren't allowed to ship because of the protests against Ruto and there were also active terrorist groups detected in the area. That's what they said. I'm not sure about that information about the terrorists, I remember, but that's nice. If you've been into Kenya, that was last year, that's nice. But you see, foreigner dignitaries came abroad and toured the ship. Wow. And I also see it says the uranium are used for the Hiroshima bombs came from Hong Kong.
came out of Africa. Yeah,
The last video as I wind up with today's.
yeah. The material that they bombed Japan with came out of Africa. Exactly.
African. Please scroll. If you're African but religion has made you deaf to logic, please scroll as well. Because what I'm about to say will not massage your religious ego. It will bruise it instead. Confront the spell under which you live. Let's get one thing straight. Prayer doesn't change nations. People do. Systems do. Leadership does. Education does. And until we Africans
Education
understand that,
does.
we'll keep kneeling while the world keep building. Aren't you tired of watching the continent with the most prayer warriors languishing in abject poverty? Aren't you tired of binding imaginary demons while our real enemies, poverty,
Yep.
illiteracy,
Yep.
corruption, and tribalism, walk free? My mother lives in a village
Tribalism.
about 600 meters long. And in that 600 meters, there are three churches, not a single school, not a clinic, not a drainage system. We are overcharged and underdeveloped. You fast, pray, cast, and bind and wait for miracles, while nations that don't even believe in your God are sending rockets to space. America didn't become a superpower by prayers. They built systems, embraced education, invested in science, and created policies. The Middle East didn't become rich through 9PG. They mastered oil, trade, and geopolitics. They invested in infrastructure and innovation. And China, they don't know Jesus. They don't know Muhammad. They know strategy. They know discipline. They know
Exactly.
nation building. But here we are, Africa, the most prayerful continent on the surface of the earth, but the least developed. If prayers alone changed people and nations, Africans will be the richest and Africa will be heaven on earth. So let's stop pretending for a minute. The modern African church has become a business center, selling you oils, promises, and fear while you hand over your bank account. You don't need deliverance. You need discipline. You don't need prophecy. You need productivity. You don't need another 40-day fast. You need a 40-year plan. We have the Congo Basin, the second largest forest in the world, but yet we import toothpick. If that doesn't tell you the level of our sheepishness, nothing else will. So instead of building another church, build a school. Instead of going to another Bible or theological school, go to a technical school or learn a trade. Instead of giving your last money to a pastor, save it and start a small business. Instead of waiting for divine connections, go out, network, and build real ones. Instead of praying for good leaders, start voting with your brain, not your religion or tribe. Instead of casting out demons, start casting out ignorance, because God isn't the problem. You are. He gave you hands to walk, not just to clap. A brain to think, not just to bow. A voice to speak truth, not just to scream amen and hallelujah. So here's the truth. Faith without sense is continued slavery. Religion without reason is mental colonization. And any spirituality that makes you passive while others build, it's not divine, it's a trap. I'm not asking you to abandon your faith, even though I may not share the same. I'm saying stop using it to excuse laziness, stupidity, and silence. God gave us the tools, but we're so obsessed with heaven that we can't even fix the air we currently live in. Africa doesn't need more churches. Africa needs more thinkers. And until we realize that, we will keep screaming amen and hallelujah while the rest of the world keeps shouting science, technology, AI, robotics, commerce, and geopolitics.
But is nothing but the truth. That is so true. You know, like there's a video sharing on Tuesday on the reaction time. That guy was talking the same thing when you bumped in, and before we got into the whole clan and whole conversation, he was saying religion doesn't help you in anything. You have generation or a group of people, parents who have stayed 40 years in churches, and now when it snaps them that life is actually getting super hectic and church is not helping you, it's too late. You know, it's too late. You realize you've done nothing with your life. You've been spending all your life on churches, giving all the money to the pastor. The pastor is driving, has a home, children going to a good school, wife dresses well, and trust me, they're not missing a meal. They're eating very well. They even have snacks in the you don't even know what things. You don't even know what ice cream is because you don't even care about yourself or your children. That people would rather you struggle working throughout the whole week. You can't feed your children even a piece of meat, but you'd rather give them kills and ensure that you're giving tithes and salaries or whatever to your pastor.
That means you're mentally messed up in the head. You're mentally enslaved. You're messed up in the head. That we say that's been the problem. I don't understand how good this worked. I know. I think they took away the spiritual system and gave us theirs. We grabbed onto it because we're spiritual people, and it just got us all messed up. When this just doesn't make any sense. Like you said, you got 5 or 6 churches on a goddamn corner. You got no school. You got no development nowhere. You got these morons from Ruto to Kofi Dada Duda. I'm going to build another church. Africa doesn't need no more goddamn churches. Not one more. You need more schools that are free and good. You need more engineers in order to build. You need more scientists. You don't need no more motherfuckers talking about amen and church and Allah. You don't need no more synagogues. No more mosques. You don't need no more churches. Shout out to even to Ray said, we don't need no mosques. We don't need none of those. You want to build some good schools? Real schools, come do that. You see, Saudi Arabia didn't come back and give no schools and build no hospitals because religion is phony. It's soft power, guys. You're believing in somebody else's fake God and you're giving power to them to infect your mind. I give China credit. China never accepted none of your goofy religions. They said, nope, you colonize is cool. And because we're weak right now, but we're not going to accept. We know we had more technology than you white people had. You're just more brutal right now. We'll get ourselves together, but we're not going to accept your religion or your damn culture. We're not going to do that. Nah, we're not going to stop that. And now look, 100 years later, China's back on top again because they never abandoned who they were. Like Africans, we're gonna just give up who we are. Fuck it.
We need to go back to that. Like you say, I think conscious thinking also is very important. Critical thinking, cautious thinking. I don't know how to call it, but I hope we're gonna go back to that and understand that this
You
is
are.
all lie. But much more family. That's why I wrap it up with today's conversation. Hope you have
I
enjoyed
tell you,
it.
I tell you, in Joby's old age, I'm gonna be gone. Hopefully I won't be a baby back somewhere else in the Congo some damn way. Oh man, think I'm in the dig. I'm picking up shit with
How
my hands. Hopefully I get out of here. In Joby's old age, I'm telling you that this is my prediction. When Joby's about 75, oh no, I might still be alive. I might be 90 then. Oh hell yeah, I might be alive. So okay, so so I might as long as if I'm eating well, we'll find out. But Joby's lifetime, I predict as an old woman that's gonna be old, I predict all churches in Africa and mosques start to get burned down to the ground. Because the knowledge is going to be the knowledge is going to speed up with knowledge of what's actually real. All churches in the next 50 years, right now, Joby 75, next 50 years, I predict majority of churches and mosques will be burned down to the ground. That day is coming too. Watch. But anyway, much love, man.
love family? Have yourselves a beautiful day.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Here is Andy Robinson, yesterday from
Good on Synovia. Good on Synovia. Throw an email.
You're tuning into Fire Radio.